Wix gives you the freedom to tell your story. With a professional...
This is the Scam Mobile. Y'all ready to ride?
Yo.
Man, shout out America, man. I can't
Yo.
do this without y'all, man.
Talk about I'm out of here.
We just show y'all what y'all could do if y'all wanted to get rich.
Alright. Very good. This radio done. Very well.
The couple's American dream quickly turned into a nightmare after wiring nearly $800,000. All of that money went to a scammer.
I'm gonna. Yes, come do it with me. Bebés, little bebés.
How many times a week would you say you punch a meal?
7 times a week, every day.
Oh my god. Is that your fork or what is that for chicken?
12 people are facing more than 100 charges in a major credit fraud scheme.
University student accused of stealing more than $500,000 in a credit card scam.
It's shocking video of thugs chasing a mail carrier. Why? It's believed they wanted the master key he carries that opens mailboxes for the entire neighborhood.
25 investigates exposing a check scam that can wipe out your bank account.
We're talking about scammers who can clone any of our voices using artificial intelligence.
We are talking about $100,000 in forged checks.
Whether it's a scam call center from India, a billionaire's Ponzi scheme, a guy pretending to be a Nigerian prince, or a U.S. senator out trading hedge funds while employed on the taxpayer dime, the truth is people hate getting scammed. After all, there are entire YouTube channels dedicated to getting revenge on scammers. You see, scammers are people that leverage social engineering, also known as human hacking, to steal, manipulate, and exploit. They'll make their approach, get you to trust them, then before you know it, they'll disappear into thin air after they've extracted your bank account, social security, or other valuable information. Today, we dive into the world of fraud and scams. Some of the scams are happening right now. We'll cover the biggest scam that's ever occurred in U.S. history, and we'll talk to the scammers to see how they think and what motivates them. And by the end of this, we'll provide you with tips on how you can avoid getting scammed yourself. This is the world of scammers. Let's dive in.
There are people out there looking to exploit your data for their own gain. With scammers like this out there lurking, it's a good idea to protect yourself. To guard against shenanigans like this, I use the sponsor of today's video, Delete Me, to help keep my footprint off the internet. What Delete Me does is they go after the data aggregators that are out there on the internet that are trying to sell your information. With nutcases out there trying to dox you and steal your bank information, you've got to take action. When you use my promo code of Tommy20, you get 20% off of your subscription. Because when it comes to your banking, where you live, your personal information, you got to
overshot it.
And now, back to the episode. Folks, today we're diving into the world of scamming. I don't know what the hell we're going to get into. I'm excited, but apparently in the city of Minneapolis, scamming is a big business.
Calls it emotional hacking. Scammers drained $800,000 from her dad's bank accounts.
LaSalle
Ready up!
accused of stealing more than $500,000 in a credit card scam.
Foster was doing fake transactions, marking items up in price, then returning them for the original price while pocketing the difference in account of her own.
In fact, there are multiple RICO cases going on for fraud right now. A big scam that was pulled was the food share program. People pretended to be feeding the homeless and walked away with millions of dollars, and now they're getting RICO'd for that. A scammer is kind of like an illegal magician. They're pulling things out of thin air. There's illusion, deception, and before you know it or realize what they did, they're gone with the bag. Let's meet up with these guys and let's see what they're about.
I did. I told you, ready up. What an absolute lad.
Yo, my boy.
Is that you?
Yeah, this me right here.
I'm in that rental car, that white car.
Alright, bet I'm finna walk over there.
Okay, door's unlocked.
Yo, what's up, bro? I say, I just know how to exploit ways to get money. Simple.
What are the different plays we're gonna be getting into today?
We got punching, simple things. We go from getting food. We can go from gas. We can go from checks. We can go from transfers. Scam work. It's all different type of ways you can get into it.
So what got you into this world?
Alright, so look, it started when I was younger. It was this rapper, his name TJX6. When I was young, real young, I always just listened to his music and wondered, what the is this dude doing? I started getting into it, digging in, and it started with cards. If you listen to his music, he's talking a lot about cards and checks, really. When he was talking about that, I kind of picked up on some things, and over time, I just got smarter and smarter and figured everything out.
So, what was the first play you ever made?
It was on Telegram. It was this African dude I met, and we was talking for a long time, and he told me something called, it's a certain type of check that you can order off of a log in. Ship the check to a drop. I picked it up, put it in the ATM, 6,900 came. That was my first ever play. And ever since then, I've just been on it.
Has this ever put you in a risky situation?
Money is fine. Pretty much scamming down here is pretty popular. I mean, in the city, everybody knows what's going on now. So if you find somebody that wants to do it, they know what they're signing up for. They know what comes behind it.
Are there rich scammers out there?
You can really get rich off scamming. That's real. It's pretty common.
Six-figure rich,
seven-figure rich. That's real.
Rather than judging these kids, I wanted
Oh,
to
yeah.
put
Let's get some
myself in their
Debbies.
shoes. Now, I know I'm overgeneralizing here, but here's a theory I'm working with. A lot of these kid scammers are from Gen Z, and this is the generation that saw their parents lose their house in the 08 mortgage crisis as the bank executives responsible got rewarded by multi-million-dollar bonuses, and the banks that fundamentally scammed the country got bailed out by the tax money of the very people they scammed. So essentially, these kids witnessed a financial system that openly didn't give a shit about them or their parents, so heck, why not pull a scam of their own? It kind of explains the sense of nihilism that we've seen creeping into this Gen Z generation. Whether you talk about scammers, the Kia boys, or just an overall sense of I don't give a f, because it seems like the world around them is crumbling. Now, from a cultural standpoint, we've seen the rise of scam rappers, guys like Baby Tron, TJX6, and Punchmade Dev, and these are guys who look effortlessly cool, ridiculously rich, and they seem to be easily getting away with scams on major banks and institutions. So yes, it's easy to point the fingers at the scammers you see here, and yes, they have a moral responsibility of what they are doing, but are they not just an underworld byproduct of a system that white-collar scammers created? I don't know. That's just a theory I'm working with. Do you save much of your money?
Yeah, in a bit I'm gonna look for a controller for Betty.
Scam bad for the rest of my life. This shit's all like, with anything you do, any hustle, all that shit just quick until you move on to your next, you feel me, next steps.
Have you ever been almost caught by law enforcement? I'm gonna take a yes.
No.
Let me think yes.
Think about it, but nah, never.
How much does an IP address come to play with what you do?
It gives you, that's like your address on the, that's like the internet address.
For most of the things you do you have to obscure your IP address?
Yeah.
Is that difficult to do?
Nah, average person could do it, I'd say.
So it doesn't affect a human at all, you think?
Everybody has committed a scam before in some way. Some people do different types of scams. Some people do insurance. Some people do home scams. You know, it's all different types of scams. I look at it as I'm not taking money from like a human. You know what I mean? And I don't think I'm a bad guy for it. You feel me? Let me see.
How much money are we talking right there?
We are a proud nation, founded on the principles of freedom, democracy, and independence. But our very values are being threatened. Our democracy has never faced such a grave threat before.
Will you sit idly by and let others stand up for your freedom? Or will you take command and lead our nation to new heights of greatness? Join the Navy. Save the world.
Sail the 7 seas and feel the
What you're about to see is called punching chicken. Now, punching is lingo in the scam world that refers to the practice of using the dark web to get somebody else's credit card information and doing an online order to punch the item. You can punch chicken, pizza, presumably anything you can buy online. Here's how it went down.
This is the website that I will buy the cards from to do the punching. Ready to buy cards.
A fake credit card.
A real credit card, but it's just not ours.
And how much money does it have on it?
It depends. I wouldn't necessarily say I know the exact amount. Certain banks, they give you the ability to check. You can call the bank and you can check how much. But I would just be buying a card based off of the knowledge that I already know. There's something called a BIN. A BIN is a bank identification number. Now, depending on what BINs you have, You might got a car that has thousands on it. You might got a car that has millions on it. There's no telling them.
It's luck of the draw.
Basically, yep.
So are these cars that someone physically stole, like at the gas station? It fell on the ground, they picked it up, they uploaded it to a website, and then it's sold to a bidder like you, or how does that work?
Basically, yeah, kind of like how you just explained it. I wouldn't necessarily say it comes from people picking them up off of the ground, but more so skimmers. They have machines that you can put on, for instance, at the gas station, you can put a skimmer on the machine where the people put their cards into, and then from here, you'll see about 1,000 hits. Now, depending on how many people put their cards in that specific machine where you put your skimmer at, that's where all the card information will come from.
Does the skimmer also capture your PIN?
Yes, it does.
So if you use a machine that has a skimmer and you type in your PIN, all of a sudden, you're wide open.
You're good. You're not good, you're up.
You're good, though.
Yeah. The thing about, you know, getting captured by a skimmer is if you have the right type of setup with your bank account in terms of two-factor.
Greetings, travelers. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Found Flicks. On this Inning Explained, we're looking at Clown in a Cornfield, where Quinn and her dad moved to Kettle Springs, a fading Midwestern town, and home to Friendo the Clown, a symbol of the community's bygone success. As tensions boil over, a killer Friendo emerges to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. Clown in a Cornfield is a trope-filled, fun throwback to the slashers of the 90s and early 2000s, but gets a bit bogged down by its messy story. Based on a book series, the movie adaptation comes to us from director Eli Craig, behind one of the funniest horror comedies ever, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. This has a similar lighthearted tone, while also boasting some quite gruesome kills. Again, where it stumbles is with the story, in particular the big late twist. It's quite obvious, and also makes a lot of things not really make sense. It's not enough to totally deflate things, but it is definitely underwhelming. And honestly, the follow-up books actually sound a lot more interesting, and we'll talk about all that too. So let's check out Clown in a Cornfield, breaking down the story, the meaning of its big twist, as well as explaining the ending that leaves more than a few threads wide open for future installments. Footsteps crunch amongst a not exactly great looking cornfield. Back in 1991, a bunch of kids are hanging out a barn, aka the Bay Pen House. The frivolity takes a turn when a jack-in-the-box appears next to a kid. They start cranking it, and a little clown guy pops out with a giggle. Jessica entices some guy to follow her out into the cornfield. He wants to blast a J, but is soon to change his mind when she removes her top. Boobies. He drools after her into the thick fields, and she disappears into the high stalks. He's stopped by a strange sight, an oversized footprint matching a clown's large shoes. The search continues, but the guy can't see anything beyond the corn. Jessica startles him with a hand on the shoulder and spits blood right into his face. She sputters to run and falls over dead. Tyler doesn't get a moment to register what's even happening before seeing something rushing right towards him. He freaks and runs right into a scarecrow. There's a moment of silence before a pair of big squeaking shoes stroll up. The killer clown coldly guts him right through with a pitchfork, lifting him high into the air. We then jump forward to present day, where Quinn and her 80s hip-hop loving dad are moving to Kettle Springs, Missouri, the same town from the opening. It's obvious that Quinn is less than thrilled to move to this small burg, taking in the quite slow-looking downtown. And there's a sign mentioning the upcoming 100th annual Founders Day Parade Festival. They arrive at their new home, and it's not exactly the most welcoming, looking beaten and run down. The hits continue as they step inside, and there's an overwhelming smell. Even worse, Quinn checks her phone and no cell signal. Oh boy. Dad excuses that he hasn't got it set up yet. Some flies lead them from the conversation, emanating from the fireplace. Quinn grabs a poker and the smell is overwhelming. She prods at the hole and a rotten raccoon is let loose. Welcome home, yeah? The view isn't terribly inspiring either. A vast field with a derelict Bay Pen factory off in the distance. Quinn gets her room together, and amongst a collage of photos is her and what must be her mom. We don't know what happened yet, but you already know the deal. She's got to be dead, you know. Her dad is struggling with this, finding him dripping coffee upon himself. Quinn warmly wishes him good morning, and he just kind of stands there for a moment and a daze. He wipes away tears, assuring her that he's fine. Showing that she's been parentified in some ways, she comforts him that they are gonna be okay. Are you sure, he asks. It's her first day at a new school, and he offers to take her. She rolls her eyes. She's 17. She doesn't need a ride. She needs a car. He calls after to have a good day and make some new friends. Not a chance. moment, she sings back. She opens the door to a local lunkhead standing there. It's her neighbor Rust, who welcomes him to the neighborhood and extends the courtesy of walking her to school. Quinn is a bit put off, but, well, can't really turn him down. As they make their way through the streets, she has to know what they do for fun around here. Rust reveals it's pretty down home as expected. The hunting and fishing is quite good. Quinn appears disappointed, and he can tell. Shit, the look on your face. He promises not everyone is a redneck here, though. The key is to not care what people think. Right on cue, some other dudes roll up in a car. Unlike some people, he gestures. Before they go their separate ways, Rust urges her again to be careful who you hang out with. There's some real weirdos around here. She laughs it off. Oh yeah, I'll keep an eye out for him. Mr. Vern is leading a class, and Quinn runs in late. He rambles about how they are soon to all graduate. And you know what happens on every Monday of every week after that? You go to work, and it's not easy or fun. Adulthood. Hooray!
Thinking of hiring a new team member? AI can help.
Hey, girl Janet is taping the whole thing on her phone. Vern pulls down the projector screen, revealing a Photoshop of his face onto a ripped dude's body. Vern is flustered and tries to find who is responsible. No one answers, and he punishes them all by giving them their tests now. Janet points out that's not fair for Quinn. She just got here. Come on. She pipes up, pointing out that she wasn't even really late. They actually put the wrong class number on her thing or whatever. Vern isn't having it and gives
you protect me. I'm gonna do the green light.
He gets attention as well. He hands out the test, and the kids begin giggling. The prank continues.
Just protect me.
His dating profile, they say. He snatches the copies away, growling, if one leaves the room, everyone's gonna get suspended. Several other kids do get detention along with Quinn, and she meets a new crew of pals. Janet is unbothered, watching back the prank video online. It's already got 3,000 views. Quinn doesn't get it. What did she do anyway? They chalk it all up to him just being a
You gotta go when
she
she turns her head.
He hates them, so they hate him back.
Cross to me.
She formally meets the group, and in particular, one dude, Cole, that catches her eye.
You gotta, when she turns her head,
so far, and Quinn groans
you
that it
can
feels
move.
like being
You just
stuck
start
in the
moving,
90s.
but when
Janet
she's
tells
looking
her
at you,
that's a real problem here for anyone over 50.
now I can move.
And we learn a bit more about the town. They're all about tradition here. And as for Founders Day, it's a holiday invented by his family to celebrate corn. All right. His dad now basically runs the town, and his great-granddad made maple syrup here years ago. Due to its success, the town started worshiping the mascot Friendo, the clown on the syrup label.
I'm
That's
right here
why
for
the
you.
kids started making him look like a serial killer on their YouTube channel. They show off a video featuring Tyler working the night shift at the abandoned factory. There's some crackling heard as he rushes to the power room. Friendo appears, he slashes him repeatedly, and finishes holding up a bottle of syrup. Bloody good. Quinn giggles at the video at dinner with her dad, and he complains to get off your phone. He knows that she got in trouble and is concerned. Detention on the first day is not like you. She blames Vern for being a total dick, which is true. It seems that it's not just the teacher that has a problem with the kids in town. The waitress comes up to get their orders, and while she gives a friendly smile to her dad, she scowls instantly at Quinn. They then meet the sheriff, who tips his hat to Quinn, calling her sweetheart to her disgust. Glenn is going to start taking patients in the morning, and Dunn is glad to hear it. The town has been really struggling since the factory burned down. The kids slam on the window, and Cole nods for her to come along. The sheriff isn't a fan of them either, also telling her to stay away from that crowd. Quinn excuses that she's not hungry and surrenders her seat to the sheriff. Cole is impressed when she shows up. That sure was quick. They're hopeful to score some booze. Does she have a fake ID? She actually does, but they say they don't need it. Me and Maddie got this. At a convenience store, the shopkeep is watching I Love Lucy, laughing uproariously. But as soon as the kids enter, his face turns to a grimace, seeming all the adults in town have a problem with the gang, if not everyone younger around here. Matt and Tucker fake an argument about him dating his grandma. The distraction works without a hitch, and they are able to snatch some brews. They keep arguing, knocking over some shelves, and grab another bottle. Cole does at least leave some money behind, and the gang takes their leave. After it's they enjoy the spoils of the victory, despite it not being great liquor, apparently. Matt leaves to rock a piss, joking, "Don't roofie my drink." Quinn is interested about what the sheriff said about the factory, causing the kids to exchange tense glances. They admit they did film a video of theirs there, but did not start the fire. Well, then who did? According to reports, it was all chalked up to faulty wiring, but they are unconvinced. Someone must have set them up. Matty is doing his thing, and a POV comes right up on him. He screams, and we hear a slashing. He comes back out to the group, clutching his stomach, appearing his guts have spilled out. He dramatically tumbles in front of Ronnie, followed by Friendo. Quinn runs in terror, and Cole stops her, informing her it's just a prank, bro. They smile, she's about to become a YouTube sensation, and everyone laughs that she fell for it. And with that, they officially welcome her to the club.
Oh my god.
Spend some one-on-one time with Cole and they get to know each other a little bit better. So, is she counting the days until they leave? And yeah, she actually is. What's next? She's off to college. Cole's future revolves around his hometown.
Get his badge, bro. I told you hell.
Down to the ground. She jokes, well, you're already halfway there. And she gives him a look as though there is a little crush developing. We learn the fate of her mother. She did indeed die of an OD last year. Her dad had a breakdown and could not even go back to his work in the ER. When Kettle Springs had an opening, well, here we are. He can relate. He lost his younger sister just last summer. She attempted to jump off a high cliff, but didn't quite go out far enough. She tenderly leans on his shoulder in support.
Bro, he's not
Janet
shopping.
coming up complaining they still need to finish the video. After, Cole gives Quinn a ride home and both are feeling good about the night. Unexpected, but in a good way. They both appreciate each other listening to their respective traumas. She goes in for a kiss, and they start making out pretty hard. Don pops up with a flashlight, banging on the window. He knows they've been drinking and turns the light to Cole, who sheepishly introduces himself. He assures him he's okay to drive. He only had like 2 drinks. Dad tells him that's still too many for someone your age. It won't happen again, he promises, and Dad is certain of this. He won't ever see his daughter again. Things are tense between the family. It's not her fault that the cell signal sucks out here. She yells back that she can't just run away without telling him what she's doing. She retorts, like how we ran off here to the middle of nowhere without even asking her. He thought she was okay with the big move. And she said she was willing to do what he needed. Not what she wanted. It never matters what she wants. We always run away when things get too hard or scary. She doesn't want to run anymore. She wants to be okay and storms off. Quinn breaks into tears, but is delighted to hear a message ding. It's a group text with the newly completed video from earlier that evening. She watches it through, but then notices something odd. When Friendo enters, she pauses it and notices another Friendo lingering in the back. Tucker is practicing drums, and she sends over a photo of the second clown. He then gets a notification of someone at the door, and it's none other than Friendo. He just assumes it's gotta be Cole here for some payback. Game on, he says, loading a foam dart gun. He makes his way stealthily through the empty house. Seriously, where are his parents? He spots some dirty footprints on the ground and hears something upstairs. He enters a room calling out for Cole. I can hear you. He sees plastic sheeting covering the ground.
Oh my gosh, I'm lagging.
Nice touch. He yanks open the closet door, seeing a jack in the box waiting for him there. He cranks it, and the clown pops out. You really stepped it up, he smirks. He closes the door, and Friendo is there in the reflection. He slashes his throat, and Tucker falls bleeding out right onto the sheets. The killer wraps him up and pats his face with a little giggle. Now we know for sure there is another Friendo out there doing some real killing, harkening back to the opening in 91. Is he back, or is it someone else? The next day, we meet Cole's parents, and remember his dad Arthur is the mayor. He says he's off to the Founders Day parade, and Arthur refuses to allow him after getting detention. He defends that he didn't do anything. Vern just hates him. Arthur brings up that after the factory closed, Vern's brother nearly lost his life, which Cole did not know, but that was not his fault. His dad is incensed. Not your fault. You gotta take some responsibility, boy. His mom steps in. It wasn't anyone's fault, really. And so I'm getting sniped. At the parade, Arthur welcomes everyone to the Centennial Founders Day celebration. 100, he stresses. He continues that we're here to celebrate the things that bring us together, that keep us together, like tradition, hard work, and good old small town values. The parade kicks off on a strong note, featuring the Queen of Corn, I guess. It's followed by another big one with a massive statue of Friendo. Everyone excited to see him. They meet up and try to figure out the identity of the mystery Friendo from the video. They consider it might be Rust. He used to be close with Cole. Quinn can actually see that, and he does seem a little bit off. Cole shows up, and there's still no sign of Tucker. I guess his parents didn't report him missing, no report to the police or anything? That's strange. Who cares, Janet says. She wants to make another video and tasks everyone with angles to cover. Cole invites Quinn to a big party after the parade. What's the chance for
me? Please.
Zero. But he's undeterred, telling her he'll A Friendo in a Speedo joins the fun, juggling cartoon-looking bombs. The cops attempt to wrangle him, and he tosses the bomb, setting a fire on a float. He snaps a line, sending Friendo flying. His head pops off and rolls right into the crowd. Arthur is pissed, wanting to know who's responsible.
Oh my god.
He places them all under arrest, convinced they must have done it. Quinn is baffled. They can't hold him without any charges, right? Nicole tells her with a shrug, that's just how the law works around these parts. Quinn knows she's in big trouble with her dad. I'm dead. An older man agrees. You're all dead. You never fuck with Friendo. Really, they've been behind bars too long, but Quinn still has
there's 3 here.
Also worth noting,
Make it.
Guess they really don't give a crap. He's
Make it.
to stay away from them, and according to the sheriff, they burned the factory down. She defends that Cole is a good guy, and he isn't buying it. You've known this kid 2 days, and you're already in jail. She blames all the a-holes around here. There's something off with those old folks in particular. He's sick of it. It's always someone else's fault, and tells her she needs to be responsible for her actions, mirroring what Arthur told Cole a minute ago. They come to a car, and it was supposed to be a surprise for her. She curses herself, but wait, she doesn't know how to drive stick. Well, he was supposed to teach her, a bonding moment, you know, but fat chance for that now. Maddie is pumping some iron in the garage, and I'm no expert, but that doesn't look like the best form. He fetches a brewski from a cooler and gulps it down. Returning back, there's a box waiting for him. He also sends a joke shouting out for Tucker. He starts cranking it, but then stops before completing and tosses it in the trash. He returns to working out, telling Tuck to check out his moves. Matt strains to another rep, and Frendo's gloved hands grab at the bar. It's his friend. He grunts to take it. Frendo instead puts a hacksaw on the other side of the bar and starts pushing down with his full weight, cackling insanely. He forces the weight down, and the saw lops his head clean off, dunking into a cooler. Later at home, Quinn is resigned to staying in until she gets a text from Cole asking if she's coming to the party or not. She tells him there's no way that's gonna happen, but he's right outside, he teases. She tiptoes down the creaky stairs, seeing her dad passed out. With Cole, she can't believe he's actually
I'm smacking him.
Her dad is gonna
One up two.
Cole argues, well, he's not gonna find out. And hey, at least he's trying to be responsible. They have a sober ride home, so no drinking and driving at least. Disobeying responsibly, you know. He hands her a
right there. There's some over there.
That's what he wanted to show her. Turns out he's got tons of extra over the years, like the Frendo costume that they use for the videos. Casting a little doubt on Cole's intentions. She gives it a crank, and Cole gets distracted, nearly running right into a guy carrying a buck. They're both surprised to see it's Rust, and clearly there is some history between him and Cole. They throw some bars
One
back and
solo
forth.
and two
Cole
on
saying
a
he wouldn't
duo.
let him along, but he has to beat his meat. And Rust throws back to tell Quinn about how he used to practice your boy band dance moves in the mirror. Seems like they must have had a falling out for some reason. They arrive at the barn, the same from 91, and there are tons of kids there. Also feeling like something is watching them from the fields. Ronnie loosens them up with some delicious shots of moonshine, and Janet just has to give the others grief. Oh, look, his cold shiny new plaything. There's still no sign of Matt or Tucker, and they are still convinced that it's all part of an elaborate prank. I guess they didn't go
I couldn't see me.
or anything. Again, no parents to speak of. They're not even mentioned. The DJ addresses the crowd and thanks the one and only Cole Hill for setting up this whole rager, leading to a rapturous response from the group. Cole then takes the stage and says that while his great-grandfather founded the town, the truth is we are the future here. We're not subscribing to some backwards belief about what the town used to be, but rather let's look forward to see what comes next, and most importantly, have a good time. Seemingly smitten, Cole show off their dance moves, even doing a little tango dip as the crowd watches on. Then he sees Russ has made a surprise appearance after all. She grabs his hand, ushering him away from the crowd, and the others watch on disapprovingly. Quinn drags him to a nearby shed and attempts to have her way with him. You'd think based on so far that he would be into it, but not so much. Has to a few times to slow things down. She comes to realize that he isn't interested in her in that way. Feeling quite embarrassed, Quinn cracks a beer to drown her feelings, good choice, and the girls join her laughing, oh, you get rejected yet? As Janet reveals, he rejects everybody. Clearly she tried and got turned down too. Quinn shoves her and they have an incredibly brief tussle. It's put on hold when a girl stumbles out of the cornfield. Are you okay? And she shakes her head, and falls over, seeing an arrow is lodged in her back. Quinn starts to freak out and they cover her mouth. It's just another prank. Play it cool, girl. They pretend to mourn the girl. Oh, she was so young. It's so sad. There's a whistle from the cornfield and someone tosses out a Frendo mask. Janet grabs it and finds Matt's head within. They still think it's fake. Impressed that they must have made a plaster mold of his head. Sure, they have an entire special effects warehouse in their garage. She tells Ronnie to think fast and tosses the head at her, spilling blood all over the place. They keep goofing around with the noggin and Quinn snaps him out of it. She can't find the girl's pulse. She is definitely dead for real. They shriek at this and drop the head, backing away. Frendo steps out from the stalks, wielding a massive crossbow. They make a run for it, and Janet trips over a trash can. Quinn runs back to save her, using the lid as a shield. They get to her feet, and just as they reach the barn doors, the others lock them out. Dicks. Frendo shoots another arrow, just missing their heads. They run around the back, stumbling into Russ with a shotgun. He shouts to death and blows the Frendo away. They debate what to do now, and the options are pretty limited, learning from Russ that Frendo has disabled all the cars. Well, maybe they can at least find out who's behind the killings, tasking Quinn to remove the mask. Just as she goes to do so, there's a chainsaw heard whirring. Another Frendo appears, followed by another and another. Soon there's a whole gaggle of them. That is a lot of Frendos, Quinn remarks. And now we know there is something much bigger going on here than just some some random slasher dude. The clowns spring into action, going for the kids. Russ fires, blowing one's hand to bits. Another with a bat goes for Quinn, and she dodges his attacks. Cole arrives to lend a hand and whaps them away, allowing everyone to escape the horde. Meanwhile, at home, Doc goes to check on his daughter and have a heart-to-heart. He can't imagine what she's been going through lately. But the ruse is rumbled when he touches the pillows. He knows she's gone, grumbling, fucking teenagers. Now holed up in the botched makeout shed, the clowns surround them from every angle. Janet is confused. Why are they only targeting them? And then they remember what the guy said, don't fuck with Friendo. Well, too late for that. Their best shot is to get to a nearby neighbor's place. If they can get there, then they can call for help. The problem is, it's a whole mile straight through the cornfields in the dark. There's further concerns. Rust has only 3 shotgun shells left. A friendo busts through the wall and he gets to the guy, but Cole is annoyed. Don't waste any more shells. Rust tries to be straight with him. Stop being stupid. You threw away everything we had for nothing. Cole mumbles they didn't have anything, and Rust spits, that's bullshit. The girls finally put it together. The pair were romantically entangled. Also why he rejected all the girls too. Luckily, there's a trap door leading to a drainage pipe. Despite the inherent growiness, it's their only way out. They have to act quick too, as the walls start getting busted up. The boys have a plan to distract them, eyeing some gasoline cans. Meanwhile, Dad is searching for Quinn downtown and gets her voicemail. He's baffled when driving by his office and sees the window is shattered. Someone must have busted in. He decides to investigate, a groan echoing from the back room. Another friendo appears and puts a knife up to his throat. He orders the doctor to come with him and brings him to that friendo with the blasted hand. Doc doesn't know what's happening, and the clown makes it clear, save him or his daughter dies. Where is she? And friendo grabs his head, bringing the knife back to his throat. He'll find out, but first, there's work to do. At the shack, Russ pours out the gasoline and the girls crawl in the hole first. Cole wants to know he's sure about this, and Russ is confident. You know I love blowing shit up. Cole starts to apologize, and Russ hands over the shotgun, telling him to tell him later. He runs to the pipe, and Russ lights the can and cranks the engine, placing a brick to keep it going. The friendos break down the door, and the lawnmower chock full of explosives buzzes towards them. They start to run just as it explodes, not taking any out, but slowing them down briefly at least. The explosion is substantial, and Cole assumes the worst, warning for Rust. There's no time. They gotta make it to that neighbor's house. Glenn gets to work tending with the shrapnel and takes a chance to trick the other friendo. He orders him to get him some more saline. He's gonna die otherwise. Friendo rummages through a cabinet, and Glenn takes a scalpel to get the other clown's walkie. Cole apologizes about tonight, and Quinn shrugs to not worry about it. Well, except for all the killer clowns. That was pretty lame. Ronnie is freaking. They're trapped in some 80s slasher movie in the corn. Which means what? I'm next, she cries. The gang reach an opening in the field and come to a road with a car heading their way. Their hopes are dashed when the cherries come on and they know it must be this shitty sheriff. It is. He completely ignores their insane story about clowns attacking, chalking all of it up to another one of their little videos. He promptly arrests only Cole. They keep trying to get him to listen, but he completely refuses. He wishes them a good evening and drives off, leaving them to fend for themselves. The girls know they still need to get to the Tillermans, but Ronnie refuses to go any further. Yet seconds after the others head off, she knows she has no choice but to follow after. They slowly work their way through the fields, just seemingly endless corn in every direction. Heavy footsteps approach, and a friendo arrives revving a chainsaw. The girls give chase to the stalks while he wildly swings the saw. They push through and come to another friendo, causing him to change course. They take a moment to catch their breath.
Okay, hold up,
the friendo gets closer and then appears to
right here.
Ronnie whispers distress. They are going to die here. Janet covers her mouth, and she starts to freak, so Quinn covers her mouth. And finally, another friendo covers hers. Yay! She shrieks and bonks him with a rock, everyone running. Ronnie, it turns out, was right about her impending doom and plows right into the chainsaw, getting chopped to death. The girls run the other way and finally make it to the neighbor's house. Getting no answer to the door, Quinn thinks they are past the point of pleasantries and they bust inside. They're shocked by someone sitting in an armchair donned in a friendo mask. Is he dead or just meditating? Janet pokes him with a broom, seeing their faces all burned up, and she smiles in relief. He's dead. There's a ring of a rotary phone and they excitedly head upstairs. Quinn answers and the call disconnects. They want to call 911 but cannot figure out how to work the old dadgum phone. Come on, it's got the numbers right there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yet they are defeated by the antique. There's bigger problems than an old phone. The girl's noticing a classic crime bulletin board. First off, all their pictures are featured, knowing they were specifically targeted from the beginning. Not sure what that means for all the other kids that got killed. Just collateral damage, I guess. Stalks. It also illuminates previous friendo murders. There's mention of hobo murders from the 1930s, and then another article showing the kids from 91. Someone has been planning and behind these various attacks over the decades. A jack-in-the-box starts tinkling, cranking on its own. Janet lifts it up, and both jump when he pops out. Quinn understands now this is a trap. They gotta get out of here. Downstairs, they find the clown guy isn't dead after all. He comes out with a pitchfork and goes right for Janet, brutally goring her through. Quinn shoves him back, and Janet is concerned. Is it bad? Well, it's not good. Friendo gets to his feet, and Quinn has no choice but to remove the fork and jams it into Friendo. Janet croaks wearily with her last breath. I hate you. The Friendo agrees, and they both perish. Glenn is still working away, and his Friendo is getting antsy. It's taking too long. He removes the monitor cable, making it appear he's flatlining. He shrieks for the others to grab the D for ribs. He starts to count, and just about to say 3, stabs Friendo in the neck. Friendo tells him that was a bad idea. He tries to tell him to leave the knife in there, but he doesn't listen, causing him to quickly bleed out. He hears chatter on the radio about the girl is tougher than I thought, and another voice orders to bring her to the factory. Quinn did find some keys for an old truck, but wouldn't you know it, stick shift. She gets the engine started, but is halted by the perilous shifter. She curses her luck, hearing chainsaw Friendo coming out of the field and right towards her. She keeps stalling, and Friendos descend upon her from all sides. She covers her head, and another appears in the back seat, smashing the window and snatches her up. She comes to in the old factory, along with a gang of Friendos, and it's time for the big reveal. She shrieks, "Who are you?" And the fat one gets up in her face, removing his mask, seeing it's the sheriff. Now, shocker. The others remove their mask, and it's the shopkeep guy, the teacher Vern, and a lady, I think Cole's mom. Quinn gives him lip, and the sheriff shocks her with a cattle prod. She naturally wants to know why they're doing this, and the mayor joins them, because it's Founders Day tradition. Only when necessary, of course, he chuckles. She's shocked to see Cole's dad, and Arthur growls that he's disowned him. Arthur leans in. Is Kettle Springs a good town filled with good people? And the crowd echoes in agreement. But keeping it that way all these years hasn't been easy. It takes vigilance, because every now and then we get ourselves a bad crap. Why am I doing this voice? He details how back in the 30s, the factory made the town, which was jeopardized by a train full of hobos that rolled into town that did not want to leave. So, had to kill them. Then in the 60s, some hippies started a commune selling dope to kids. So, had to kill them. Then in the 90s, you know how those kids were. They were burnouts, he dismisses. However, he thinks Quinn's generation is even worse. The worst of them all. A cancer, a scourge, he sneers. A blighted crop that needs to be culled. He drops a curtain, revealing Cole with a noose around his neck, dangling precariously over a car. Quinn can't believe you do this to his own kid, but Arthur is adamant he's not after killing his sister, and then after burning down the factory, that was the last straw. Of course, he's wrong about everything, essentially hating his kid because he wouldn't listen to him. Kind of the whole point here, I guess. Quinn calls him insane, and Arthur defends. He's just doing what his ancestors did. Tradition. Cole gets his bandana loose and spits that he only pretends to care about them. You say you care about the kids, but you're the ones that screwed everything up. The world is gonna change whether you like it or not. You're scared. If you can't have the things you want, then you just burn it all to the ground. You'd rather kill us than just listen. Arthur mocks him and already has designs to cover his death. The sheriff is about to take out Quinn until a car comes smashing through the door, sending stuff flying everywhere, including an AC or something that obliterates the shopkeep's head. The dust settles and the lady has also been impaled with a pipe. Vern is furious and gets his chainsaw at the ready. Quinn shouts to get Cole and bonks him with the door. The sheriff fires and her dad gets winged. Arthur orders the sheriff to get Quinn. He's got Cole. He tries to drive the car and hang his boy, but there's some debris in the way. Meanwhile, Quinn hides in a museum of friendo crap, and the sheriff tracks her down. He spots blood prints on the ground and grumbles, "That's what's wrong with your generation. You think you're smarter than us." He yanks back some clothes and blows off a friendo's head. She's actually behind him. You got that right. And she jams the cattle prod down his throat, sizzling the sheriff. Even now, Cole is adamant that his dad is going to go down. The truth will come out eventually. Arthur pokes that you are too dumb to be my son. And Cole knows the truth. He set the fire to the factory for insurance money. Arthur takes it back after all. Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought. He tells him, "I'll see you now," and removes the last debris. Just then, Cole gets the rope loose and wiggles his fingers into the knots. And then Russ shows up with a surprise assist, using the last shell to shoot down Cole to safety. He's shocked that he's still alive, and they share a kiss. Cole pulls back. "See, you always second guess." And Cole's like, "No, it's because you smell like burned flesh." All right, that's fair. He's finally being open about his real feelings here. Quinn shows up, happy to see her dad is okay too. They find a bug outside with the keys within, but Dad keeps his cool and calmly instructs her on how to get it in gear. The final friendo, Mr. Vern, is not going going another way, and Dad references that combo earlier. We're not running this.
Do you hear me?
She revs the engine and barrels right into Vern, splattering him all over the windshield. Well, it took care
I
of
have the death chest.
No loose ends to worry about.
I have the death chest.
What the heck happened to Arthur? The first time I watched this, I was even
I
more
got all the
confused. Literally,
exotics.
he was on screen and he just vanishes. Where'd he go? Importantly, he did escape, but it is super quick. So, well, no problem, not really solved at all. In spite of that, when we pick up some time in the aftermath, the survivors all have attempted to move on. Glenn's yard is stacked with signs for his upcoming mayoral campaign, and Quinn is off to college, I guess. They don't specify. Her and her pops have a
You have that one. You got that one. You have it here.
Goodbyes too.
Yeah,
Russ has a gift for her, an extendable self-defense baton, just like she wanted. Quinn smiles. They apologize to her dad, but there are some crazies out there. Don't worry, he gets it. Now she gives him a big hug, advising to stay away from old people. Well, specifically mean old clowns that will kill you. Good advice. Quinn hits the
Here's the memo. Here's the memo.
Master of the stick, barreling down the open road. Yet things are amiss. She looks in her back seat. Her eyes go wide. There's Jack in the Box there. She looks it over quizzically and then tosses it out the window. It rattles onto the asphalt and pops up one last time, making us really wonder if this is the last we see of Friendo. Well, obviously not. There's already 2 more books after the first one, and at least 1 more on the way.
I killed her.
I feel like the movie itself leaves things on an abrupt and unsatisfying note. It sort of ignores everything that happened. Sure, all her friends are dead, and the threat is still out there, but let's move on, I guess. Who cares, right? It's funny, too, because ultimately the parents' plan about tradition and all that is absolute bunk. The killings over all the years don't actually do anything. The factory failed and the town fell apart. That's it. It's not like they're feeding some corn demon or pumpkin head or something. Oh, we need 7 souls so our crop is good or something like that. No, it's completely meaningless, which again may be the point. The older generation wants to go back to the good old days. The problem is they don't exist anymore. No matter how many kids or hobos you kill. The other kind of weird element by the end is the whole town is behind the killings, or is at least a secret society of these Friendo fanatics. Who are they, though? It can't literally be the entire town, though, right?
I think they know we haven't got
citizens, and they're all just like, yeah, we love Friendo, and have no idea about the killers, I guess. Kind of confusing to me. It does sound like there is more development of that in the follow-up 2 books in the Cornfield series. It sounds like the cult itself is also a much bigger thing than in just Kettle Springs. And Arthur does make a return as suspected. And a whole new string of killings commences with Glenn now as mayor. Hopefully they'll be able to make adaptations of the rest of the books because they actually sound even better than the first one. And I don't read books. So that'll wrap it up for this Ending Explained for Clown in a Cornfield. Do you have any requests for movies you'd like to see me cover? Let me know on any of my social media accounts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching Found Flicks. See you next time.
It's the final days for summer savings on Corsair Plus.
Help!
Get 40% off a year of access to over 10,000
learning
programs from experts like Google, Microsoft.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Found Flicks. On this Ending Explained, we're looking at Terrified.
You're fired! You idiots! Back to work, now! Okay? Get back to work! Cut it out! Everything has to be perfect! You make me so angry! Is that what you want?
Benson Dunwoody. You know him as the grumpy boss of the park, the gumball curmudgeon himself. I bet you didn't even know what his last name was, because I didn't until I googled it. But that's very fitting, because ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot you don't know about this anthropomorphic gumball machine. Sure, he's one of the main characters of the show. Yeah, he's always got, like a clipboard. These are basic facts. But in this video, I want to dive into the darker side of Benson, something that you may not have